we're broadcasting. Can you guys see the slides now?
Yes.
Okay. Also, since I do the first one, I guess I'll just introduce us. So this is our social justice analysis presentation. This is Team Palm with Frontier Nursing University. It's Monica English, Adrian Black, Amanda Strickland, and Monica Stuckey. Sorry, just a second. Okay. Why is this an issue of social justice? First, let's review what social justice is. During the Industrial Revolution in the early 19th century, social justice was a concept that arose aimed to create equal societies with the understanding that all individuals deserve equal rights and opportunities. It can also be described as a fair and just relationship between the individual and their society. Social justice can be measured by the distribution of wealth, privileges, and opportunities within a society. African American mothers have the lowest rates of breastfeeding when compared with all other racial or ethnic groups in the United States. African American mothers are 2.5 times less likely to breastfeed than white mothers. In North Carolina, the amount of African American infants that were not breastfed at discharge was 32.6% versus 16% for Caucasian mothers. Low breastfeeding rates in the African American population is not just a health issue. There are many modifiable barriers that these women face to breastfeeding. Some of them include lack of acceptance and support, language and literacy barriers, lack of maternal access to information that promotes and supports breastfeeding. The CDC National Immunization Survey found that African American women were less likely than white women to report having received breastfeeding advice and were instead more likely to report having received formula feeding advice. Another barrier frequently reported by African American mothers is the lack of access to information that promotes and supports breastfeeding. They also reported that they need more specific information about what to expect and how to address possible complications during breastfeeding. This is particularly troubling because it is well documented that women who are encouraged by healthcare professionals are more likely to initiate breastfeeding. With African American women not receiving the same advice and education for breastfeeding, this does not provide the same opportunities or support in egalitarian society. This is a disappointment to social justice.
Giorgio Agamben's philosophy looks at who has biopower, or the power to affect life or death. According to Agamben's, people are categorized into two categories: real persons, or bios, which is someone with social agency or the ability to make choices and act independently, and non-persons, or Zoe, or bare life. This is someone who is less of a person or lower on the ladder of persons. The philosophy was used to study and understand nursing involvement in the Holocaust. This may sound extreme, but can still apply today. As nurses, looking at patients through Agamben's lens, patients can fall into either the bios or Zoe category due to socially constructed differences. Patients can fall into the Zoe category because they are considered non-compliant, drug seekers, substance abusers, or they engage in high-risk behaviors, or for many other reasons, such as race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, sexual orientation. In North Carolina, African American women are being categorized into the Zoe category by their race alone. They are given less breastfeeding education, information, and support. Therefore, Black women are less prepared for the challenges of breastfeeding, less likely to initiate breastfeeding, and more likely to quit than white women. If breastfeeding educators, nurses, and providers believe that a woman is less likely to breastfeed due to her race, then they are less likely to educate and prepare her to breastfeed. Here is a breakdown of the population of North Carolina by race and ethnicity. The CDC analyzed data between 2011 and 2015 and found that breastfeeding rates were significantly lower in Black infants when compared to white infants in 22 states, including North Carolina. Over Over 865 mothers were surveyed in North Carolina, and as you can see, the data shows that Black infants had 14% lower breastfeeding initiation rates, 6% lower rates of exclusive breastfeeding at 6 months, and 15% lower rates of breastfeeding at 12 months. This is a huge difference. There are many barriers to breastfeeding that Black mothers must overcome. Besides the inadequate breastfeeding support and information, Black babies are more likely to be born in a hospital with less breastfeeding support indicators than white babies. The CDC found that hospital and zip codes with a greater percentage of Black residents than the national average were less likely to have supportive breastfeeding practices than hospitals with less Black residents. Black babies are more likely to be born into a single-parent household and to be born into poverty than white babies. This can result in less family support, less money to pay for additional expert breastfeeding support like IBCLCs, and the need for mothers to return to work sooner after giving birth. And this all can lead to increased infant mortality.
Our solution to this social injustice problem is to increase the WIC funding for a program already in place called Grow Our Own Lactation Consultant. Multiple studies have linked increased lactation consultants to increased breastfeeding rates. Currently, there are only 4.57 IBCLCs for every 1,000 live births, and I need to change that to the North Carolina one, like we talked about. In the United States, or in North Carolina. As previously mentioned, lactation consultants and other breastfeeding support practices are even lower in hospitals and communities with a higher African American population. To increase IBCLCs in these hospitals will make a substantial impact for the African American mothers in this community. IBCLCs could help these mothers initiate and continue breastfeeding. The multi-level model of health theory supports this solution. This model shows different levels of shells that promote or decrease the health of any person or population. The smaller shells are less modifiable and require change by the individual. The larger shells require change outside of the control of the individual. For this social injustice, there are several shells that are applicable. The social relationship shell addresses how interactions with friends, families, and coworkers affect adopting behavior changes. African American mothers are more likely to be in a single-parent home and may not have the family support needed to support breastfeeding. Providing an IBCLC would provide support that the mother would otherwise be without. Also under this shell is that African American friends and coworkers are less likely to breastfeed and may not provide a supportive environment for the breastfeeding mother. They are less likely to have answers to common breastfeeding questions or complications that can come along. The institution shell addresses how we operate. The institution shell addresses how places we operate affect adopting behavior changes. As mentioned earlier, hospitals and communities with higher Black populations are less likely to have an IBCLC. An increase in the number of IBCLCs in these hospitals is needed. And then I'm going to also add the genetic shell, and I got to type up a little script for that.
Okay.
That's coming. So it just needs to be added to the slide.
So analyzing the players, who bears the cost of the problem? So who's paying for the problem of the decrease in breastfeeding rates with African American mothers are going to be the infants. They're going to have an increase in infectious morbidities as well as leukemia, SIDS, childhood obesity, and diabetes. The mothers are also bearing the cost because they're going to have an increased risk of breast and ovarian cancer, retained gestational weight, metabolic syndrome, and decrease in emotional bonding. Healthcare monies being spent are also bearing the cost due to insurance companies paying more secondary to the increase in infectious morbidity with no breastfeeding. And as well as the WIC and government funding that's also paying for the formula. Who benefits from the problem right now are going to be the formula companies, the bottle companies, as well as all the bottle accessory companies like the nipples and bottle cleaners and steamers and liners. And then as well as dentists who are having to, assess and deal with problems from extended bottle use. Who benefits from the solution? So who's going to benefit from the solution of increasing the rate of breastfeeding with the African American population are going to be the infants, the mothers, healthcare money, as well as the WIC and government funding. Who bears the cost of the solution? This is going to be the formula companies. They're going to have a decrease in sales, as well as the bottle companies, the bottle accessory companies. And then as well, if we have the solution of increasing the breastfeeding rates, then the government funding will also be increased.
Okay, and I still don't have my official script written out. But anyway, in conclusion, there is a lack of social justice regarding African American women in North Carolina. African American women are 2.5 times less likely to breastfeed than white women due to barriers. Infants born to African American women are more likely to be born in a single parent household. African American women are put into the Zoe category, which decreases access to breastfeeding education and support, especially for hospitals with a greater than percent Black population. Infant mortality and morbidity is increasing those infants who are not fed. Mothers who do not breastfeed have an increase in health issues as well. Healthcare costs increase due to infection and the increase of morbidity and mortality in non-breastfeeding infants. The solution is to increase funding for WIC for the purpose of increasing lactation health. We can social justice for the African American mothers by increasing access and support of lactation consultants through the WIC program.
And then Monica, since you're there at the end, do you mind just saying something like, thank you for listening to our presentation?
Yes, thank you very much for listening to our presentation, and here are our references.
Great. When I'm talking, can you guys see me talking?
No.
I see the PowerPoint.
Okay, good. Can you guys still see what I'm doing here?
I can see the
PowerPoint. What do you guys think about me adding like a title in here? Say something about African American breastfeeding rates.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay, I got a couple of things. So actually, my last name is misspelled. It's Stucky with no E. And it's Michelle, not Monica, but either one is good.
I knew I was going to mess something up. Michelle Stucky. Is
I
that
did
right?
the last assignment.
That's it. And then, okay, so sometimes we say Black and sometimes we say African American. And I was saying African American until my data said Black. And so then I couldn't, I didn't want to switch it if the data said Black. So then I started saying Black. And I don't think it really matters if we go back and forth, but had you guys wanted to stick with something all the way through, or are you okay going back and forth with Black and African American?
I'm okay with going back and forth.
Whatever you guys think.
Yeah, either way, I don't have a preference.
Okay.
Do you have a preference, Monica? Michelle, sorry.
No, I don't.
Okay. Also, on analyze the players slide, there was a typo.
Yeah, I saw 2 of those.
Oh, really? I only saw one. Good eyes.
One was a of.
Yes, that's what I saw. The of. That's all I saw.
On that one, there needs to be a close parentheses on the healthcare monies.
Oh,
That's the only thing I saw.
Nice. And then the other thing that for solutions, when I mean you don't have to add this. I think it's fine the way it is. But if you want to, with the WIC, when they educate the peer counselors to become IBCLCs, then the peer counselors, I guess how do they say it? The ethnicity and race of the peer counselors usually reflects the population that they serve. So then that would, if we're educating the peer counselors to become IBCLCs, then our IBCLCs will also, hopefully, ideally, reflect the community, I'm sorry, my brain's not right. The community they serve. Anyway, I think it's fine the way it is, but if you want to add that just because, or if, just say it, you don't even have to add it.
And then on the solution slide, if you'll add in before social relationships, add in the genetic and constitutional factors, like in that, like under the multi-level model.
What do you want it to say?
Genetic/constitutional factors.
Amanda, are you making those changes? Because I'm on my phone.
Yeah, I'm
and
making.
I'm seeing those. I don't have the changes that we need to make. I can't do it on my computer right
No,
now.
that's fine. That's fine. I
Okay.
have it, and I'll save this copy.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Is that
Yeah.
good for you, Adrian, there?
Yes, it's fine.
What do you guys think about the title, Reduced Breastfeeding Rates in African American Mothers?
Perfect.
That
Okay.
Yeah, that is perfect.
Was there anything else we needed to, did you guys see any other typos or anything? That was when I was going to move this up just a little.
I
Did
think
y'all see anything else that we should change real quick while we're all together, or does this look okay?
I think it looks okay.
I like it.
I'll fix that chart. I mean, yeah, I'll fix that chart and send it.
Do you want me to send you this copy?
You know what? Do you want to send it to everybody? Oh, you know
Sure.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
actually,
great.
Yeah.
if you send it to me, then I can probably fix that. Even if I have to just redo the chart right into it, and then I can send it back.
Sure. And
Perfect.
I'll change the name in here to black.
Oh yeah.
That way we'll know which one's the updated copy as well.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, and let me take your E out. Is that right? STUCKY?
That's it. Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
Isn't it sad I have to save everything to my desktop or I'll never be able to find it again?
I do that too. Absolutely. All right,
Okay.
so we are presenting Thursday night,
Yes, 8 o'clock. Is that right?
8 Eastern. Okay.
Maybe we should email each other Wednesday night just so that nothing crazy happens. So I don't forget. So who's the one that lives in North Carolina? Wasn't that one of you guys?
I thought we all lived in North Carolina for some reason. I live in North Carolina.
Okay, because I do, and I know that hurricane's supposed to be coming this way. We'll see if it actually comes.
Adrian and I are in Kentucky.
Yeah,
That's right, that's right.
All right. So do you think we're good? Do you want to meet a little bit before the actual presentation and run through it one more time?
So I would like to do that. I know not everybody can. Is that right?
I can't. I'm off that day.
Okay.
On
I'm off.
Thursday. Sorry, you guys are talking about Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I work until at least 7 p.m. If I leave the hospital at 7 p.m., I can get to my house by 7:30. So I can try to meet at like 7:30. But if you guys want to plan on meeting earlier and I just may be a few minutes late.
Yeah, that's fine. I wouldn't mind just running through it.
Yeah, me too.
Just for peace of mind.
Or even like I'm off Wednesday too. I know it's kind of a lot to meet 2 nights in a row, but if you wanted to meet for like a quick 15 minutes on Wednesday night, I don't know what y'all schedule, so I can.
You know, I could do that also either way.
Instead of trying to squeeze it in before the actual presentation.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can try.
I'm good with that too, as long as it's around 8 or after.
Mm-hmm.
I probably can too. I probably won't have my script written by then because I work tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But I'll have it written out Thursday morning.
I mean, I'm okay either way. It doesn't matter to me.
And what you said today was good.
Yeah, I thought
Oh,
it's on
well.
today.
I just read from the slide.
Either day is good, Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, I'm happy with whatever. That's
Okay. And actually, okay, I got a real quick question. So when we actually present this, how are we presenting this? Like we're presenting this live? Are people watching this?
I believe so. I believe the other team's there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are we? How are we presenting this live? We'll be.
So I think it'll kind of be very similar to this. There will just be 2 different teams here. And I'm hoping that whenever it's our turn to present, I'll still just be able to click that button and present to everyone, and then just go through there.
Yeah,
So-
people will receive an invitation to the meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense. And so we just all show up. Okay. All right. Because those little kind of technical things kind of make me nervous. That's what makes me nervous the most.
Stress you out.
All right, guys. So are y'all wanting to meet Thursday or Wednesday? Y'all decide.
Let's just do Thursday.
Okay. I think we're good with that. I feel like we got this.
Okay.
So Thursday at about 7:30.
That's fine with me.
7:30 Eastern. And then if you're a few minutes late, Amanda, we know where you are and if you're coming.
Yep. And
Yes,
we'll just, yeah. Okay.
And
And you know what?
I'll shoot you guys a message if I'm going to be late. I mean, I may get off at like 5:30 that day, and I may have plenty of time, but I just won't know until that day.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on it. I know how that goes. You know, those important days, it just doesn't always work.
All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see y'all Thursday. And I just
See you.
emailed that updated PowerPoint.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Bye.